Welcome. Today I am going to start a new video lecture series on bipolar junction transistor. Throughout this video lecture series, I will cover all the aspects related to bipolar junction transistor. As this is very first lecture, I am going to cover a brief overview of it. We will see its mechanism, how bipolar junction transistor work, its different structural things, doping level, its width, and also I am going to answer basic questions related to this topic. Bipolar junction transistor or simply BJT or just simply transistor. It was invented around 1947 and 1948, and the invention of BJT was a great achievement in the electronics. Nowadays BJT used everywhere. It's a very versatile electronic device. It is used in digital electronics, it is used in analog electronics. Depending upon biasing, it can act as an insulator or it can act as a conductor. Therefore, it is also used as a switch. So now the very fundamental question is, what is BJT? Let's suppose we have a N-type semiconductor, and this N-type semiconductor is sandwiched between two P-type semiconductor. Then this overall device is called a transistor, in which the one side is called emitter denoted by E, another side is called collector denoted by C, and the center one is called base denoted by B. And this overall structure is called PNP transistor. Okay, so how we can form a transistor? If you sandwich a N-type semiconductor layer between two P-type semiconductor layer, then we can form a transistor. Okay, and it will be other way around. We will see it. What's important thing is here, the one P side is called emitter and another P side is called collector. How we can distinguish which side will we call emitter and which side we will call collector, because both are of same type of layer. So that's depend upon its doping profile, also the width. If you notice it here, then the width of collector in this schematic diagram is larger compared to the width of emitter, and we will come to it. So this very first slide leads many questions in our mind. Why we are calling it a bipolar, why we are calling it a junction, why we are calling it a transistor at all. What's the doping in this P side, what is the doping in the N side? So many questions we have. So I am going to cover all these questions one by one. Here the junction from the emitter to base, which is a junction between P and N type semiconductor, is called emitter junction. And the junction between collector and base, which is also a junction between P and N type semiconductor, is called collector junction. So now we can think of why we are calling it a junction transistor, because in this device there is a junction between P and N type semiconductor. That's why we are calling it a junction transistor. And it is not only for the P and P. If we switch semiconductor type, that is, if we sandwich P type between two N type semiconductor, then also we can form a transistor, and that transistor is called NPN transistor. So in the simple language, if P-type or N-type semiconductor layer sandwich between two N-type or P-type semiconductor layers respectively, then we can form a device which we can call a transistor. Okay. To draw a circuit diagram, we always use some kind of symbol, that is symbol for resistance, symbol for capacitor. Similarly, we use a symbol for transistor. And this is the circuit symbol of a PNP transistor. The arrow, which is representing the emitter side, a horizontal line which is indicating a base side, another side is collector. Okay, so this is emitter, this is base, and this is collector. And to identify whether this is PNP type or NPN type, the direction of this arrow is pointing inward for PNP and the direction of arrow is pointing outward for NPN transistor. And this arrow will help us to identify whether the transistor is PNP or NPN. The very first question is why this arrow is pointing inward for PNP transistor. This arrow is nothing but direction of current. That means this circuit symbol saying that current is flowing from emitter and it's going in the transistor, that is towards the base. To understand it, we first need to understand the basic operation of transistor. Transistor usually operate in three different regions: active region, cutoff region and saturation region. We will cover this in the next lecture. You just assume that in the normal operation, in the normal transistor operation, which we call active region, we used to have emitter to base junction is of forward biased and collector to base junction is of reverse bias. So to make it forward bias, we need to just connect for the PNP transistor positive terminal of battery to P side, negative terminal of the battery to N side. And to make it reverse bias, that is the collector to base junction, we can just connect another battery, the negative side of battery with the P side and positive side of the battery to the B side. In this way, we can make the emitter to base junction as a forward bias and collector to base junction is of reverse bias. Now, if you are concerned about the magnitude of the voltage, then just simply keep the voltage of emitter junction greater than voltage of base junction, and also the voltage of base junction should be greater than the voltage of collector junction. In that way, you can satisfy this condition, that is emitter to base junction is forward bias and collector to base junction is of reverse bias. Now biasing is done. So in such biasing, what will happen? As this emitter junction connected to positive power supply, due to this forward bias and it act as a PN junction diode, then hole will penetrate from P side to N side. And the direction of hole is direction of current. So we can easily say that current is moving from emitter towards base. And that's what exactly this circuit symbol is saying, that current is flowing from E towards B. Okay, we will come to this point in detail while studying the mechanism. So for time being, we are sure that this is the circuit symbol for PNP transistor, and if you draw the direction of current, then this is the direction of emitter current, this is the direction of base current, and this is the direction of collector current. Similarly, we can draw a circuit symbol for NPN transistor, and this is the circuit symbol. This circuit symbol we can understand in similar manner. If you do the normal operation of a transistor, that is emitter to base junction is of forward bias and collector to base junction is of reverse bias. Okay, and to make it, as this is NPN transistor, then you have to connect negative terminal of your battery to the N side and positive terminal of the battery to the P side, that is emitter and base. And similarly towards the collector and base side, positive terminal you have to connect with the collector and negative terminal you have to connect with the base. Okay, due to this forward bias, electron from the N side, that is electron from the emitter side, will penetrate into base, that is towards the P side. Therefore the direction of electron movement will be from emitter to base. As a result, the direction of current will be opposite to electron. So the direction of current will be from base towards emitter, that is coming outward from the transistor, and that's what exactly this circuit symbol is showing, that current coming outward. This is the direction of currents. Base current is going inward in the transistor, collector current going inward in the transistor, and emitter current is coming out from the transistor. Now we will see the mechanism of transistor action. Till now we have fair idea how to operate a transistor, that is in the normal condition we have to make it forward bias, the emitter to base junction, and the base to collector junction we have to make it reverse bias, NPN transistor. So this biasing is accordingly to the normal operation. Okay, due to this reverse bias there is a creation of depletion region in collector junction. Okay, and that's we can easily guess. So here it's look like that two NP transistor connected back to back. So can we achieve a transistor kind of device just by connecting two PN back to back? My answer will be no. Why? Because here these two diode, if you assume that there is a two back to back diode, then there is interaction between these two diode because P region is common to both of them. But if you connect two diode with a wire, then there is no interaction between them. Okay. Now let's move forward. Due to this biasing, the electron from the emitter side will enter into the base region and they will create a concentration gradient of electron. Okay. And as electron moved from E side to B side, there will be a direction of current opposite to that. So direction of emitter current will be coming outward. Now as injected electron diffuse through the base, and finally as the collector side is connected with the positive terminal of battery, the electron will be attracted toward the collector side and the injected electron is collected by the collector. This will form a collector current and the direction of collector current will be inward towards the transistor. While moving the electron, some of electron will recombine with the hole present in the p side region, that is in the base, and due to which it form a recombination current, and direction of that recombination current will be towards the base. Okay, so we will have a base current also, and the direction of base current is given by this. It will be towards the transistor. This is the mechanism how the current flow in a transistor. This is NPN transistor. So instead of NPN, if you choose PNP, then all the direction of current will be opposite. Okay. Now just think more about this. So what you can write, that emitter current is equals to sum of base current and collector current, right? Now while manufacturing the transistor, width of base is chose to very small. Why? To minimize this recombination current. Similarly, the doping of base is also kept low so that we can minimize the recombination. And in that way, we make the base current much smaller compared to collector current. Under such scenario, we can write that base current is much smaller than collector current. Thus, we can write emitter current is approximately equals to collector current, right? So just remember this point and let's appreciate the whole transistor device. Due to this forward bias in the emitter and base junction, which we call the input, the dynamic resistance is very small, right? Because we know in the forward bias, a PN junction diode has a very small dynamic resistance, right? Similarly, the dynamic resistance at the collector junction, which we call the output side, is very large due to reverse bias. So what is happening here? In a transistor, current from low resistance input circuit is transferred to high resistance output circuit with almost unchanged magnitude, because collector current is approximately equals to emitter current and the current is flowing from very low resistance input circuit to very high resistance output circuit. So what it is? It is transfer of resistor. And that's why this name transistor. So transistor is also termed as a transfer of resistor. Okay. Now we can justify its name, bipolar junction transistor. Bipolar means its operation involve both type of carrier, right? Just like we have seen in the mechanism, we need electron for NPN transistor. Electron was injecting from emitter to the base side and there was a recombination due to hole. So both type of carrier involved in the operation. That's why it's a bipolar junction, because it involves a junction of N and P type semiconductor layers. Transistor because transfer of resistor. So that's how we can justify its name. Okay. Now come to very first question. How we can identify emitter and collector, both are of same type. Okay. So to do that, we need to understand doping profile, and now we are on the better position to understand it. In the doping profile, in the y-axis, I will plot concentration of donor minus concentration of acceptor, and this is the doping profile for PNP transistor. For NPN, it will be other way around. Okay. This is width of emitter, width of base. This indicates the width of collector. Okay. So here we can easily see the width of collector is more compared to both emitter and base, and width of emitter is greater than width of base. Okay. Also, if you look at the doping profile, then doping of emitter is greater than doping of collector, and base is oppositely doped at intermediate level, that is between the emitter and collector. So let's understand this point. What was the purpose of emitter? We have seen just in the mechanism, the purpose of emitter to emit charges or current, right? And to do that, to keep the current high, we have to dope it at very high level. That's why the doping in emitter is very high. Now, as current is injected from the emitter to base, we have to minimize the recombination current because we want to collect as much as current we can do at the collector junction. So to minimize the recombination current, we have to keep the width smaller because the larger the time electron will spend in the base region, there is a larger probability of the recombination. So to just minimize it, we can reduce its width, right? Also, we can reduce its doping so that the whole concentration will be smaller. As a result, the recombination or the lifetime of electron in the base will be higher. So to minimize the recombination current, we used to keep the width smaller and doping is also kept low. What was the purpose of collector? The purpose of collector is to collect current, and in order to do that, we have to keep its doping low because suppose we are dealing with the PNP transistor or NPN. So if you're dealing with the NPN transistor, then electron coming from the emitter and via base it is entering into the collector. So if collector will be of same level of doping, this electron will don't have a concentration gradient. Okay, we should create a concentration gradient so that the electron can diffuse from the base to collector. Similarly, for the PNP transistor, we need to create a concentration gradient, otherwise we won't have the transistor action. In transistor, the hole will diffuse through base and collected in the collector. Okay. To do that, to maintain the concentration gradient, we have to keep the doping is low. Okay. Now, another thing, as current is collected by the collector, it will heat up. So in order to radiate the heat, the width is kept larger. Okay. So we have to keep this thing in mind while manufacturing the transistor. So this is all about the basic of transistor. In the next lecture, I'm going to cover its characteristic, input characteristic and output characteristic, which is we called static characteristic of a transistor. See you then. Thank you.